A very good morning. Euro USD has pushed in towards the downside after the dollar regained a lot of strength yesterday in line with the overall inflation announcement. Now, this was pretty much expected for Euro USD, as obviously we were looking still for price to further push in towards the downside, in towards this area of daily demand. So this area of daily demand is perfect to start potentially looking for longs in the near future. From a daily time frame perspective, obviously the swing is still bullish. The fractal is from this low into towards this high, still bullish, and we are currently at a discount of the overall fractal leg up. So we're now at a discount, we're now inside daily demand, and there is now potential to start looking for those longs. Looking at the 4-hour time frame, we can then see that we are currently positioned within an area of 4-hour demand. Now, this 4-hour area of demand is not ideal to start looking for longs in my personal opinion, so I would also then never just simply start buying here on some bullish candles. Reason being is because there are still ascending lows here right below the overall area of demand. So when an area of demand forms, what you preferably want to see is you want to see it swipe the overall lows and then reversing towards the upside, because that in itself will then be a far stronger area of demand. So that's why I'm currently not really looking for aggressive positions to buy Euro USD. I would preferably want to see another sweep here of the lows, and then we form a change of character, and then we can start looking for longs, or see even further downside down in towards, for example, this demand zone, and then look for some long positions once again. However, for now, the overall momentum remains in towards the downside. So yes, from a daily time frame perspective, it's starting to look better for buys, but from a 4-hour perspective, the overall order flow and the overall momentum is still very heavily bearish. So there are no longs to be taken in my personal opinion. And therefore, I would keep my eyes open for a further downside continuation before looking at any potential longs, and then start to form like a solid overall base at lower levels to then start looking for those long positions. Now, I'm going to show you guys what that would look like then on the dollar index. Just by the way, for some context here on the 1-hour time frame, I don't think Euro USD is going to really provide us with any high probability opportunities this week. Overall, it would be beneficial to start pushing up a little bit more, but then at any point in time could just dump again. So let's keep our eyes open for overall support forming at those lower levels. Now, I'm going to be in Dubai, guys, this week. So I'm going to be flying there today. That's why this market outlook is a little bit early. And if you are by any chance in Dubai, please let me know so we can meet up. Now, looking here at the daily time frame on the dollar index, the dollar index is now retraced into a very interesting level, in towards this overall daily supply zone over here. It has filled those gaps which we've talked about for quite some time. So it filled this gap, these descending highs as well, and it's now come up in towards this area of supply. So obviously the overall fractal structure remained pretty much bullish throughout the entire time. The sell for the buys, those have been kept pushing the market up higher and higher. So it's fairly easy to understand that the dollar was just ready to keep pushing up higher. Now, we are obviously inside that daily area of supply. Also, from a 4-hour swing structure perspective, we are in supply and at the overall extreme, right? So this is your overall 4-hour swing leg down. We see the overall retracement, and now we're inside supply. Now, for the dollar index, what I'll be looking at is for a break of this fractal low. That is the only kind of like time where I'll be looking to get into potential shorts if we see like a double fractal break. Otherwise, the market could just keep pushing up higher. There's still kind of like this refined open area of supply, so there's still some more upside available for the dollar index, and I'll just keep waiting. Because here from a daily perspective, yes, obviously, it's starting to look good to a certain extent in the sense that we are inside a daily area of supply. The 4-hour time frame as well. 4-hour time frame is also in supply. But from a 4-hour time frame perspective, you now really want to see some confirmation, and that would have to be a low break of the current fractal low. So we don't simply, again, just sell here on top of this in the expectation that the market is going to drop, because more often than not, will price just kind of like continue pushing up higher and higher and higher. So you want to really wait for the market to give you that confirmation within that overall area of supply, and that overall confirmation is then obviously breaking the current fractal low. Now, going into AUDUSD, AUDUSD sold off with that bullish news. However, we can see it's already rebounding. This is why I'm not personally a very big fan of trading Aussie dollar at the moment, due to the fact that it is just so rangy. There are no real commitments to any moves within the market. You can see that pretty much since 24th of June, so nearly a month now, we've just been consolidating within a 4-hour range. Now that we are trading here at the bottom of the range again, potentially there are some longs to be taken once again. Well, personally, not a pair that I'm very actively trading. You can see that we're now at the bottom of the range, so you could start looking for some lower time frame scalps again in towards the upside. That is the only kind of like potential trade that I really see. 15-minute time frame here obviously has the potential to pull back up higher. Let's just say this is your 15-minute swing structure, and we draw in the premium versus discount. Then obviously here the internal trend on Aussie dollar is now bullish, so it makes sense to start looking for some further upside, maybe liquidate some lows first, but overall it makes sense to look for some further upside. Going into GBPUSD, this has to be the call of the year so far. The overall shorts that we've been discussing for quite some time, again market pushing down lower following the overall 4-hour fractal structure, exactly as we discussed in yesterday's video. Absolute beautiful scenes. This is the power of the 4-hour fractal structure. For now, this is 4-hour supply that is in control, so obviously I'll be looking for more short positions once we reach that 4-hour supply zone again in towards the downside. Looking here at the daily, I still see some further downside potential for GBPUSD. I'll be keeping an eye open for that overall swing low or the beginning of the overall ascending wedge. So still looking for some further downside here on GBPUSD, and once we start retracing up higher again in towards, for example, this supply zone, then I'll be looking at the 4-hour time frame again for those potential skill ins. But for now, I'm happy with aggressively scaling in on the 4-hour time frame due to the momentum being so high. Now, going into NZDUSD, we can see that NZDUSD sold off again. This is kind of like what I was discussing, that I really wanted to see a lot more momentum before looking for longs again here on NU. Overall, from a daily time frame perspective, we are obviously trading at discount levels inside this overall hammer candle. So what you now want to see is you want to see the 4-hour time frame form some form of support. For now, this is the overall supply zone that is in control. So you could look for more shorts once the price retraces in towards there, and then use this initial push down as liquidity. So look for this, and then on the 1-hour time frame, you could look for some more short positions on NU. Also, as long as the dollar index remains bullish. Going into then dollar Swiss, dollar yen, and gold. Dollar Swiss pushed up higher, breaking the overall 4-hour fractal structure. On the daily time frame, it still remains bearish. The final NBOS supply for the dollar index is kind of like this supply zone together with this internal liquidity high. So there is still potential for one more short here on USD Swiss if the overall price action provides us with an opportunity on the 4-hour time frame. So look to see if the 4-hour change of character comes within that daily supply zone, then there is going to be potential shorts on your hands once you form supply, but otherwise just let this push up higher with the 4-hour fractal structure. Go into dollar yen. Dollar yen obviously pushed up higher as well, as we have been discussing. Those dollar yen long positions have been playing out well. I just followed the overall order flow further in towards the highs. 20th of July, there is going to be an election in Japan, and that is going to give us a lot more clarity on where the Japanese yen wants to head next. But obviously, until then, the daily fractal remains bullish, so it doesn't make sense to look for any shorts. So that's USDJPY. Now moving on into gold. Now, what has gold been doing? Gold has obviously been consolidating. Yesterday it pushed down lower in towards the downside. Overall, I'm looking at this chart here, and we can clearly see that the market retraced into the 0.5 fib of the daily fractal. So again, overall swing structure is bullish, market retraces, and now we're just looking for the longs again. We've saw this kind of like internal correction here where we liquidated this low, we tapped into demand, and now we've seen a V-shape reversal up, daily change of character, another daily change of character. So now I'm focused here on the second daily change of character, which is from this low in towards this high. Market has retraced into 0.5 fib, and now I'm looking for further upside. I go into the 4-hour time frame, and again, as I mentioned in yesterday's live stream, we were looking for further downside pretty much from this supply zone. That was preferable, and now I'll just be looking for maybe one more sell-off, take out this low, see the bullish change of character, and then look for longs again. I'm just waiting for market structure now to align with what I'm looking at. From a 1-hour perspective as well, fractals is still bearish, so this is still your supply zone. So I'll be looking for a little bit more downside before looking for any real longs. Preferably you want to take out this low over here. This is the very first low of the overall ascending lows. So let's see if we can take out that low, and then I'll definitely be looking for an aggressive scaling opportunity on gold. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll be traveling today, so I'll try to be as active as possible. Thank you for your attention, and see you in the next one.